name? Tell the crowd your name.
Jeremy Umphries.
Jeremy Umphries, and you are a third-degree black belt, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your story. I mean, a third-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu obviously has a lot of training and a story to it. So tell us how you started.
Sure. I started, martial arts when I was 7 or 8 years old. Started with karate and taekwondo and striking and stuff. And then I got into wrestling when I was in high school and ended up wrestling through high school. Then I wrestled in college in St. Louis. And that's when I started doing jiu-jitsu, like in the off season, the summertime, in St. Louis, we'd go train jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. I trained under Rodrigo Vaghi. And then in the summers, sometimes I'd go home and I'd train with, in Memphis is where I'm originally from. And I trained with Jonathan Border as well. He was one of my first coaches. So that's how I started in jiu-jitsu and then got into MMA. And then after doing that for a while, I wanted to go to pro in MMA, so I went and moved to Los Angeles. And that's where I became pro in MMA and fought for a number of years and competed in jiu-jitsu as well. And I went through different schools trying to find where my best fit was. And found that I learned something in all different schools I went to. Found a crowd, that was great for that time being, and then moved on to whatever I needed to do next. So I got my black belt from Fabricio Verdum in 2010.
2010. And so Fabricio was heavy into fighting back then.
Yeah.
And was that what drew you to training with him? Was the fact that he was a black belt that was currently fighting?
Yeah. So I had known about Fabricio from the Pride days, but I had met some guys that trained with him from Brazil. They were at Gracie Barra training when they first moved there, and this is like 2007, 2006 and 2007. And one of the brown belts there told me that he was moving to LA and he's going to open up a school where we train MMA and stuff, because the school I was at was just mostly jiu-jitsu and didn't really have any MMA. So I was interested in doing both, right? So when he moved there, we moved over to that area and I started training under him.
Well, we are in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
So how did we end up in Jackson, Mississippi from Los Angeles? I could have swore I heard you earlier say that you lived in Australia.
Yeah, I lived in Australia too. So I went from Memphis and then moved to St. Louis. Then I went to California for about 10 years and then Australia for 2 years. We were living in LA and my wife got into a medical school program. And she had a couple options, and one of them was an international program where you do 2 years in Los Angeles and the other 2 years back here in New Orleans. And we were both like, yeah, let's go live in another country for a couple years, see how it was. So we moved over there. She was in medical school. I worked over there, taught jiu-jitsu and competed. Got back into just competing jiu-jitsu, loved it, did well.
What city did you land in Australia?
Brisbane.
Brisbane?
Yeah.
Gold Coast?
Yeah. It's right near the Gold Coast. It was awesome. I love Brisbane. Had a great team at Gaha Jiu-Jitsu out there. It was had a great bunch of competitors. A lot of guys competed that I trained with. And man, I miss it. It was great when I was there. We were there 2 years and then we moved to New Orleans and that's where I trained with all those guys that I met down there. And it was funny because they all trained kind of at one place, and then eventually everybody branched out as they grew in belts and stuff. But we all stayed pretty close and training with each other. So
yeah, a lot of the guys from New Orleans are great AGF referees, and as you can see, many of us came from Mississippi, Texas, Florida. We're all friends. We love the game. I think that's another thing that separates us with AGF is, we are openly in love with jiu-jitsu. The owners of the company are. We want to get on the mat. We want to train and meet guys like yourself,
Right.
And so Anthony Mitchell is a very big presence at AGF.
Right.
And I've been to his other gym, the other location, and then he told me you were teaching at his school, and he's done nothing but brag on you.
Yeah.
And said, I got this great guy teaching and stuff. How did you and Anthony link up?
Well, so I thought we were going to stay in New Orleans. I was hoping my wife, when she finished, she would get residency at one of the hospitals in New Orleans. Well, she got picked up here. So I was a head black belt over at a school named Vita Jiu-Jitsu in Mandeville with Greg Lappin, and I was hoping I could stay with him because we had such a good camaraderie and a good team there, and Marcus and Zach had moved and made their own. You know, it's about 40 minutes away from each other, but we've always still trained. I trained with Raposa and JM Modern Jiu-Jitsu, Josh Mancuso.
For sure, yeah, we all know those guys.
Yep, and I used to train, you know, and sometimes I train with Charlie. You know, Charlie down there, he has his Jiu-Jitsu, New State Fitness, Charlie Heyman, and Matthias and those guys as well. So I had a lot of people I used to train with and friends with.
Good guys too. Everyone you mentioned, excellent jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
A lot of accolades as well too.
Right. Matthias is actually the one that gave me my third stripe when it was come around. So when the time came, so he was kind of a staple in New Orleans, bringing jiu-jitsu there. You know.
Do you teach at both locations here in Mississippi?
No, when I found out my wife got her residency up here, we moved up here, and I had known Anthony before because we were all soul fighters at one point, and I'd met when we competed at one of the New Orleans IBJJF. You know, we won the team trophy and everything, and I met him then. So I messaged him. He said, "Hey man, come meet up," and he told me his big plans, and he said, "Hey, I'd rather team up than compete against you." And I was like, I feel the same way. And he's like, let's go 50-50 and open a school. I got 2 schools now. I want to open another one, close one location and move it. If we want to go partnership with this one, I said, yeah, let's do it. So it's been one of the best decisions I ever made.
Nice. It looks like an amazing facility here. You know, people can see in the background it's 2 stories.
Yeah, man. It's we're blessed because like this location, Anthony's friend had this available for us, and it was perfect for a gym for jiu-jitsu. I couldn't believe the layout. I couldn't ask for a better layout. You know, you got the mezzanine up there, so I can have kids class and adults class at the same time at night. So like the family can come train and leave basically at the same time. So it's like a no-brainer for a lot of the families that train jiu-jitsu.
How long has this location been open?
So we've been here, almost a year and a half now. So it's growing quick, slow and steady with as far as the consistency and growth, but like quick as far as getting new members in here and stuff. So it's awesome. I couldn't ask for a better place.
And we obviously are here in town. We have AGF Jackson tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I know that's big on the plate for the school here to compete there tomorrow. Do you guys have any new big plans that we don't know about, or any other tournaments coming up, anything like that in the future?
No, not anything major right now. We're still. I told myself for the first year or two while we try to build the business and build the team and everything that I wouldn't compete as much because it's hard for me to focus on one or the other or do both. You know, I'm like, you know how it is being a parent and then running a school and then competing. You know, it's like how much focus I put on one thing and neglect another thing. So, me and Anthony are gonna still compete as much as I used to. So, but I'd like to try and compete more next year. About to turn Masters 3, so we'll see how my body holds up, you know.
Yeah. Well, I do know that you got to go pick up your son. Is there any last sponsors, IG shout outs, YouTubes, anything like that?
Not really. I'm gonna thank you guys at AGF. I think you guys run an awesome program. You know, it's one of the best. It's the answer to IBJJF. You know, there's got to be somebody else in the game. You know, it used to be Nagas and, you know, Grappler's Quest and all those places. All those organizations just kind of came and went, right? And just kind of, but AGF seems to be the other organization that's got some competition. I hope that it grows and grows and grows and gets to as big as something like IBJJF one day, because you need both. You need some competition, you know what I mean? And I love how they run the tournaments and stuff with the little kids as well. So,
appreciate that. Yeah. You know, we have always gotten a lot of people that say, hey, you know, we're trying to beat the IBJJF.
Sure.
And I don't think that at all, you know? Like, right now they're the gold standard to the jiu-jitsu scene. Yeah. But as my business partner put it, you know, they can be Walmart, but we just want to be Target.
There you go.
You know, we're not trying to beat them. There's room for everybody, but there's also room for improvement.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Right.
I've been in the game for 27 years, and I'm not trying to repeat the same thing for a quick buck.
Sure, exactly.
So trying to do it because we love it. You know, that's why we're here grappling on the mats.
That's what I'm doing this. It's what I do full time. It's because I love it, and I'd rather do this than sit in a cubicle.
Did you get some good rolls today?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed rolling with some of the guys. Doing some no-gi rounds. I started no-gi, and then I would get into gi more for a while, and it's good to get back into no-gi too, because that was my main thing, was no-gi. So I enjoy it. I try and train it 2 to 3 times a week still. But,
nice.
Yeah.
How many classes a week do you teach?
I teach, let's see, 6, maybe, let's see, I do 3 on Monday, Wednesdays. I have to go through it. Think about it, they all blur together. So 6 a.m., 12 o'clock, 4:45, and 5:45. So that's 4 on Mondays and Wednesdays. That's 8, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays I teach 1 each. So 10, and then Saturday it's 11. So 11 a week.
Nice.
And then other times other people, if my math is right. I don't know, I'm a little tired.
I feel you. Well, I do appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah.
And always recommend people here to come to Precision Martial Arts when they stop through Jackson. So good people. It's great meeting you.
Yep.
Anthony's great people, and
Yep.
can't thank you enough for the interview.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, man. Thank you all.
you.
Yeah.